It's been a while since I've wanted to make this video series, so welcome to the first of the very best monthly creations in Dreams, beginning with a bumper look at entries from January and February of 2021. Hey, welcome to Little Big Animation. We're all about creating inspiring video games and animations to unleash your imagination, so you can realise your own creative dreams and share those with the world. First up, we have Slice, a gorgeously crafted action slasher 2D game, as you control a miniature-like character slashing and dashing your way across a vast amount of levels and worlds in order to regain the captive souls. This could easily be portrayed as a game outside of Dreams, with its high degree of polish and precision. Creating a 2D game in Dreams, which is predominantly a 3D creative suite, wouldn't have been an easy task, which makes this all the more impressive. Not to mention the catchy soundtrack that goes along with it. Rally Mania 2.0 improves upon the previous incarnations and adds a new safari track to boot. And no, that wasn't a pun for all you British car lovers out there. Some tight controls and a nice landscape to drive around in as you look to beat not only your previous time, but many others on the online leaderboards. The title of this creation says it all. Gloom is a very gloomy stealth resource gathering game. You are tasked as the last survivor in the town to avoid the many phantoms which lurk throughout the streets and abandoned buildings and make the most of your resources to escape, all whilst keeping an eye on your hunger and battery levels. Modi, son of Thor, deserves a lot of praise. It is clearly a project which wants to push the boundaries of Dreams by creating an epic adventure. The game plays out in many ways like the original God of War games, as you platform, solve puzzles, and bash a few skulls in. The full game isn't available as of yet, but this chapter gives plenty of content to sink your teeth into. Probably the best example of quality animation you'll see in Dreams. The bar has been raised so high it completely annihilates what came before. If you've ever wanted to create a Pixar-esque film in Dreams but didn't believe it was possible, now you've got all the inspiration you need. In addition to the stellar animation and character rigging, there are some impressive graphics on display, as well as quality directing and voice acting from scene to scene. The War to End All Wars is another example of how storytelling can be achieved in Dreams. There are no characters here, no real dialogue or animated scenes. Instead, what we do have is an ever-evolving environment which tells the story in itself. We live what it would have been like to brave the terrifying nature of the war-torn trenches in France from World War I. We don't see many action games in Dreams that get it right, but whilst Goldis is certainly not perfect, it gives a very honest look at how an action game could work. The combat is very reminiscent of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, as you utilise a heavy sword, cast magic against your werewolf foes, and lightly explore for hidden chests and secrets. It is only a demo, but it shows a lot of promise with some additional polish. RPG games are my jam, so you can imagine how excited I was to play this. Tales from Darktown is set to be a series of individual bite-sized episodes. RPG games can be extremely long, so this format could well benefit the average player in Dreams who want shorter play sessions between creations. You'll find everything here from an old school RPG point of view, with tons of character dialogue, a robust combat system, and a nice collection of menus. Another perfect example of how the use of a single set can be remixed to create brand new experiences. Astro Thumb Stories is a collection of some of the animations seen over on Twitter, and they are hilarious. Animated to perfection and full of charm. I mean, come on, it's a talking thumb in space. This next game is actually included as part of the Tales from Darktown episode, but can also be played in its standalone form. Take control of your fighter plane as you blast your way through waves of enemy planes and tanks arcade style. Upgrade your plane for even more devastation, outmaneuver the barrage of bullets heading your way, and top those leaderboards. The environment from this creation was recently made public for anyone to remix and create whatever they liked within it. Shibuya Ghost Carnival creates a fluid action game in the style of Kingdom Hearts, as you face off against numerous waves of demon-like creatures. It's a fantastic showcase of what can be done with tight controls and fluid animation, and I desperately want to see something like this implemented in a proper adventure game. This may be another demo, but it's certainly one to be proud of. Stretch takes a lot of cues from Super Mario, with its environmental and enemy art style, but gameplay wise it does add a few unique features. The main idea around this character is that it can stretch its arms to reach further away obstacles. It's a short but sweet level which shows great promise for the future full release. There's a lot of demos to go around, but it's a good thing that they're all packed full of promise and quality. Ninetale's story takes the action you'd expect from a Devil May Cry game and packages it nicely into a 2D scroller. It's also worth mentioning that the difficulty is a tad bit higher than what you'd normally come across in Dreams. That's another way to say it's just like Dark Souls. Considering that this is a prologue, you'd be forgiven to suspect that this was merely a demo in itself. That, however, is not the case. Far from it. Soul Legacy is a traditional Devil May Cry style action game which takes place in a world ruined by destruction and chaos. There's plenty to experience here, and if this is merely a prologue, I can't wait to see what the full game will represent. Now this is how you make a puzzle game. I've played a lot of puzzle games in my time, both in and out of Dreams. Some have you scratching your head, others have you beating your head against the wall. But I can safely say that a puzzle in time keeps things fair, as everything can be solved through common sense and a bit of fun exploration as you warp back and forth between several periods in time. Red and the Phantom Castle takes you on a fun, unique adventure as the gameplay switches numerous times before the end. You'll enjoy a 3D platformer, 2.5D, 2D scrolling, some into the screen sections, the list goes on. It's a very ambitious title that tells its tale through the use of a vintage cartoon art style. Good old Cyber Spy 1951B, a game heavily inspired by fellow game Jazzpunk. You undertake a series of missions which take you across multiple locations throughout the city. The game is packed full of optional interactions and even features yours truly as the voice of Chief Viewburger, your mission handler. What a collection! These past few months have really upped the quality in terms of consistent regular releases. Stick around as we'll be back again to take a closer look at the very best creations released in March and beyond. What did you think of this collection of Dreams? Let's discuss down in the comments below and subscribe if you're new here. We are all about creating inspiring video games and animations to unleash your imagination, so you can realise your own creative dreams and share those with the world. If you'd like to support us on our quest to provide you with the very best inspiring content, check out the video description or the pinned comment below to become a channel member, which comes with additional exclusive perks. You can also support via Patreon or browse our Teespring store if you'd like to get your hands on some cool new merch. Thank you. Would you like to see even more inspiring content? Click on one of our videos on your screen now. You can also subscribe by clicking on our little red imp. See you in the next Dreams video.